Some say that true protection happens when you least expect it. Others claim that luck is just a well-trained coincidence. But there's a third view, one that understands that behind what we call destiny, there are silent choices. Choices that no one sees. Small, almost invisible gestures that have the power to redesign everything. One such gesture is placing something specific under the place where you sleep. A simple object, forgotten by many, but revered by those who know its effects. Now imagine, what if you discovered that something so basic could be responsible for removing what slows you down and bringing you closer to what you want? What if the key to abundance wasn't in effort, but in the silence of a forgotten ritual? The answer may be closer and older than you think. If life has been heavy, if you feel that nothing is flowing as it should, now is the time to make an adjustment in the invisible. And the most effective way to start is by declaring your presence. Write in the comments, "I am ready to live protected and guided by what cannot be seen." This gesture signals that something is moving within you. And when your energy organizes itself, the world begins to respond. Take this opportunity to activate notifications and subscribe. This ensures that you will continue to receive practices, rituals, and codes that connect you to the field of real manifestation. Each teaching here is a bridge to what lies beyond logic. And if you've made it this far, it's because you're ready. Between distant mountains and silent deserts, entire civilizations developed ways to protect themselves from what the eyes cannot see. Often, they had no walls, weapons, or technology, but they mastered something even stronger: frequency. They knew that everything vibrates. They knew that the environment where you sleep can either heal you or destroy you. And that is why they created sacred practices to protect their spaces, especially during sleep. During rest, the physical body rests, but the vibrational field remains receptive. In this state, we open channels, both to what heals and to what corrodes. And that is why so many cultures treat sleep as something sacred. It is in this invisible window that the universe listens most clearly. Based on this, an ancient custom emerged, placing a small object under the place where one sleeps. An item made of natural material, charged with intention and activated with specific words. Its function was twofold: to create a barrier against negative influences and to attract positive events. But this was not superstition. It was energy geometry, alignment with the Earth's field, and activation of specific frequencies. This object was used by both Tibetan monks and Central American healers. It also appears in ancient manuscripts from North Africa and in records of Jewish families who practiced silent protection in their homes. What they had in common was a simple understanding: what is under your feet also sustains your energy. It is no coincidence that most anchoring and grounding practices involve contact with the ground. The ground is a symbol of foundation, structure, and roots. Everything you place on it with intention has the power to influence the field around you. Over time, this object has been adapted. It has been given different names and shapes. But the essence has remained. It should be strategically placed under your resting place. And it wasn't enough to just put it there. It had to be activated with a gesture repeated 3 times, a subtle code that awakens its function. Why 3 times? Because the number 3 represents creation, body, mind, and spirit, past, present, and future, above, below, and the center. By repeating a symbolic act 3 times, you don't just perform it, you anchor it in reality. One of the oldest accounts involving this practice comes from a manuscript found in a hidden village in Central Asia. It described a woman who, after losing everything in a great drought, received a red thread from an elderly woman. This thread, when tied with 3 knots and placed under the resting place, would become a vibrational shield. The woman followed the instructions and, in less than a week, received help from sources she never imagined. The text said, she not only saved herself, but went on to teach the secret to others, and all who trusted it were also protected. This thread, seemingly ordinary, is the same one that, centuries later, continues to be used in rituals of protection and manifestation. It is not magical, but it carries such a profound symbolic power that, when activated with truth, it breaks through blockages and opens paths. It is important to remember that the thread alone does nothing. What activates it is presence, the gesture, the intention. By tying the 3 knots, you create portals. By placing it under the ground where you sleep, you anchor protection. And by sleeping with confidence, you allow the universe to work for you. If you feel it in your heart right now, I trust what guides me. I receive what belongs to me. This is more than a phrase. It is a vibration, an affirmation that aligns you with what is ready to arrive. And if you know someone who needs protection, clarity, or balance, share this content. Not to convince, but to offer a key. Sometimes all someone needs is a reminder that there is more between heaven and earth than the eyes can see. This is just the beginning. In the next installment, we will reveal the complete step-by-step process. What the object is, how to activate it correctly, and how to ensure that it works in your space. And here's a tip. The simpler the gesture, the more powerful the transformation. She never imagined that something so small could completely transform her inner state. Her name was Lucia. She was 58 years old and had been living for years with overdue bills and worries that seemed endless. A retired teacher and widow for some time, she had entered a cycle of constant anxiety. Everything seemed stuck. Her health was poor. She was emotionally shaken, and her finances showed no signs of improvement. One afternoon, while visiting a former coworker, she heard about an ancient custom kept secret by families who valued energetic protection rituals. It was a habit so discreet that few knew its origin, but its effects were noticed by all who practiced it consciously. Lucia's friend, with a calm look and firm words, told her about a red thread. A thread placed under the resting place, activated with a specific gesture and a clear intention. At first, Lucia laughed. She thought it was just a nice story, but too symbolic to have any practical effect. However, after hearing real accounts of changes that had happened to those who had applied the practice, from unexpected reconciliations to financial improvement, she decided to give it a try. After all, nothing she had done so far had worked. She followed the process to the letter. She chose a piece of natural red cotton thread. She measured about 25 centimeters. She sat in silence and thought about what she wanted to cleanse and what she wanted to attract. Then she tied 3 knots, one at a time, saying in a low voice, "I dissolve what blocks me. I allow good to come in. I accept the prosperity that belongs to me." Once she had done that, she placed the thread on the floor, exactly in line with her head on the bed, and then she went to sleep. That night, she dreamed of calm waters, a boat, and a light coming from the sky. She didn't understand it at the time, but she woke up with a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. And more than that, throughout that week, unexpected events began to fall into place. A distant relative she hadn't spoken to in a long time contacted her to offer help with an old family property. A retirement plan that had been blocked by bureaucratic issues was suddenly approved. But more than anything else, she began to feel light, lucid, as if something had been lifted off her shoulders. The practice worked, but it wasn't because the thread itself had any supernatural power. It was because it served as a channel to redirect Lucia's energy. It became a symbol of something much greater. The conscious choice to align oneself with that which builds, protects, and expands. And now you can do the same. Below is the complete step-by-step guide. respecting what has been taught for generations and adapted so that anyone can apply it. Pushpin How to Activate the Red String Practice. Complete step-by-step guide. 1. Choosing the thread. The thread should be red and made of cotton or wool. Avoid synthetic or plastic materials, as energy conducts better in natural fibers. 2. Size and preparation. Cut between 20 and 30 centimeters in length. The exact number doesn't matter, as long as you feel it is proportional to your intention. 3. Time and environment. Perform the ritual in a quiet moment, in a clean environment, preferably close to the time you go to bed. Light a candle or use a soft scent if you wish, just as a symbol of presence and focus. 4. The 3 knots. This is the most important part. As you tie each knot, take a deep breath and declare a specific intention. For the first knot, release what you want to dissolve, e.g., fear, debt, sadness. For the second knot, declare what you want to allow, e.g., peace, prosperity, balance. For the third knot, affirm what you want to keep, e.g., protection, clarity, health. 5. Correct placement. Place the string exactly under the part of the bed where your head rests. If you live in an apartment or cannot access the floor, you can place it between the mattress and the bed frame, as long as it is energetically aligned with your head. 6. Time of action. Leave the thread for 7 consecutive nights. Each night represents a complete cycle of cleansing, activation, and integration. At the end of the 7 nights, you can bury the thread in a place with plants or nature, silently giving thanks. If you want to repeat the process, prepare a new thread. This ritual does not interfere with your routine. It requires no effort. It imposes no beliefs. It simply adjusts your field. And when your field changes, everything around you changes too. This is vibrational physics. Everything resonates with everything else. And when you clean the channel through which life moves, life reorganizes itself. Now, please note, do not mention this thread to other people. This practice is subtle and personal. Talking about it before the time is right can disperse the energy generated. Silence preserves the process. This is respected in all traditions. In addition, to enhance the effects of the practice, you can adopt small complementary gestures. Sleep listening to soft mantras or healing frequencies. Place a clear quartz crystal next to your bed. Repeat positive affirmations before going to sleep. Avoid arguments, negative news, or heavy content in the evening. These simple gestures reinforce your energy field and help the red thread work more deeply. Remember, you're not just placing a thread under your bed. You are activating a channel, a symbol, an energetic command for everything to align with your highest good. And if you already feel that this content is touching you in some way, write in the comments, "I am ready to be guided and protected every night." This small act anchors your choice on the energetic plane. It's like putting your vibrational signature on a silent contract with the universe. If you are not yet part of this community, now is the perfect time to sign up and activate notifications. Here you will find ancient practices translated into simple actions, techniques that require no effort, only awareness, wisdom that reminds you of something you have always known deep down. And if you know someone who lives anxiously, without answers, and is seeking balance, send them this video. It may be exactly what they need. Sometimes, a thread is all that separates someone from chaos to harmony. Lucia's story is just one of many, but maybe the next one will be yours. Night had fallen once again, and Lucia, now in her 8th night after the ritual, felt something different. It wasn't a grand miracle or an explosive revelation. It was calm, a serenity that came from within, as if the silence that had once bothered her now enveloped her like a hug. And it was at that moment that she realized something had changed, yes, but the biggest transformation was not in the external things that started to work out, but in the internal place from where she received them. Often, transformation happens so subtly that it almost goes unnoticed. It is not a change of scenery, but of perception. What was once seen as chaos begins to reveal itself as transition. What seemed like a blockage becomes a necessary pause. And what was once noise becomes a message. This is the true impact of the red string practice, the change in vibration. And when the vibration changes, the answers appear. It is important to understand that this object, seemingly ordinary, acts as a catalyst. It does not create miracles. It removes excess. It organizes the field. It activates the flow that is already present, but is often obscured by the accumulation of thoughts, fears, and inherited patterns. Therefore, when you sleep with the red thread activated under your field, it is not just about sleeping. It is about being realigned. It is about being energetically restructured while the physical body rests. Sleep becomes a time of healing, not escape. A time of restarting, not exhaustion. Several reports confirm this. People who started having lucid dreams. Others who began waking up with answers to old dilemmas. Some reported that old patterns of fear simply disappeared. Not by magic, but because the field was finally freed from what was weighing it down. And when the field is clean, the future rebuilds itself naturally. Here is a silent truth. Everything you want is already trying to reach you, but can only find space when your vibration is compatible. Otherwise, what comes is more of the same. That's why the practice is so powerful. It changes your frequency during the most receptive moment of your day, sleep. However, this practice does not end after 7 days. The thread can be removed, buried, and thanked. But the real work continues within you. And that is why keeping your inner space clean and mindful becomes the natural next step. Lucia realized this when, after performing the complete ritual, she no longer wanted to return to her old habits. She began to treat her routine as sacred. She avoided unnecessary arguments. She stopped consuming content that made her anxious before bed. She created a space in her home where she placed a candle, a glass of water, and a phrase of gratitude. Nothing extravagant, but everything done with presence. And that is what keeps the transformation alive. Presence. The continuous awareness that life happens from the inside out. That nothing changes by chance. That everything starts with a silent choice, like tying 3 knots in a string and placing it under your feet. And now that you know the story, the process, and the effects, it's time to answer an essential question. What will you do with this knowledge? You can simply watch and go on with your life as before, or you can apply it. Lay the string, tie the 3 knots, create your space, declare your intention, and then allow the invisible to begin to work. The choice will always be yours. But remember, every sacred gesture, no matter how small, has an impact. And if you decide to apply it, here are some suggestions to keep your field open. Crescent Moon Complementary Post-Activation Rituals. 1. Early Morning Journal. When you wake up, before even touching your cell phone or getting out of bed, write down any thoughts, images, or feelings. This trains your mind to notice signals from your unconscious. Many answers arise in this liminal state. 2. Affirmations before bed. Use short phrases repeated mentally. My field is protected. I receive what is rightfully mine with ease. The energy of prosperity finds me while I rest. 3. Deep breathing and gratitude. Before going to bed, take 3 deep breaths. With each exhalation, let go of a fear. With each inhalation, receive an intention. Then give thanks, even if you don't know what for yet. 4. Intentional touch on the wire. When you lie down, place your hand near where the thread is positioned. Visualize a white light emanating from there. Imagine this light enveloping your entire body like a protective field. This strengthens the connection with the object and with the subtle plane. You don't have to do everything. Just do it with sincerity. Even a small gesture, done with real intention, has the power to change your frequency. And by changing your frequency, you change your path. Many still wait for big signs to believe. But those who live connected know that the real signs are small. They are the sensations, the coincidences, the delays that prevent accidents, the ideas that come out of nowhere, the relief that comes without explanation. All of this is the universe responding. It all starts with a choice. So, if you want to strengthen your field and seal this process, write in the comments now. My energy is open. I trust the invisible. I receive with gratitude. This statement completes the cycle. It acts as a seal, a vibrational confirmation that you are receptive, ready, and aligned with the flow of abundance and protection. And if you haven't signed up yet, now is the right time. Be part of this community that grows every day. Turn on notifications, because here, with each piece of content, you access spiritual tools that have been hidden, silenced, forgotten, but now return with strength, clarity, and purpose. If this touched your heart, share it. There are many people sleeping in fear, carrying burdens that are not theirs, trying to solve through effort what could often be solved easily. This content could be the turning point for someone you love. And best of all, when you become a bridge for someone else's transformation, your field expands even further. The red thread was the beginning, a symbol, an ancient gesture that connects today to eternity. But now, the journey continues with you. You have the knowledge, you have the gesture, you have the field. Now, you also have permission. Sleep peacefully. The transformation has already begun.